What makes a good steak is the steak needs to be cooked perfect.
Obviously there's a place for the well done people over there.
I'm looking for like kind of like a medium rare kind of steak. It's raw.
Hi guys, today we're going to be cooking steak dishes.
And then the chef with the high score will get the award for being the best chef in Australia. No, I'm just kidding. They're just gonna get the bragging rights for winning this video.
Steak to me is something you go out and eat. It's just got to be, you know, melt in your mouth, and it's got to have a good side to it.
A lot of chefs learn how to cook with this really early on, and it's like the one thing that you need to know how to get it right.
What happens when you think of steak in your mind?
It's really a piece of meat.
I'm so excited. I love steak.
Let's go eat.
So I chose surf and turf just because it is really Australian. Beef and the seafood they don't need much to be done. They're really good by themselves. So what I'm going to do first is I've got 150 grams of chopped butter at room temperature, and here I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon of miso paste, some seaweed, and then also a squeeze of lemon. I've got my T-bone steak here. I'm just going to salt one side and put that down on the pan. Now it's gonna sizzle, it's gonna be awesome. And I'm using sea salt flakes. Don't use like table salt just because it's too small and it'll make your steak way too salty. Next, the seafood. Today I'm using king prawns. And now I'm also just gonna add some squid, and now I'm just gonna quickly cook that because you don't wanna overcook this because it'll go super rubbery. So it should only take about 1 to 2 minutes. And then I'm just gonna put it on top of my steak, and I'm just serving it with some steamed broccolini. And now I've got the butter here, put that on the top, and it's just gonna melt like lava over all the seafood. Oh, and then I'm gonna shove a knife in it because it means business.
Whoa!
So we have a T-bone steak with king prawns and some calamari.
The knife stabbed in is a tad aggressive.
They've given me a whole sword.
Let me just pull the knife out.
I'm hoping that my opinions of surf and turf are met with delight, because this is not something that I'd ever make. The steak is cooked perfectly. If it was on its own, it would have been perfection.
I've got the juices of the prawns on the steak, so there's a bit of like seafood, basically like taste of the ocean coming through.
There is a herbed butter on the plate.
The butter is super balanced.
All right, I'm gonna dive into the squid.
Mm-hmm.
Yum!
Yep, perfectly grilled, not overcooked.
I didn't try the broccolini because this is a steak video, it's not a broccolini video.
I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I think the addition of the surf is maybe a little bit overkill.
The color that the chefs put on the steak is just absolutely beautiful, and those prawns have been cooked perfect. A 9. You lose a point for the broccolini.
Okay, a 7 out of 10 is put together beautifully with a lot of thought. I love the prawns, but for me the calamari was a tad fishy.
My dish is a steak tartare. It's a very polarizing dish because it is basically raw meat. We're going to slice our steak into thin slices, and then we're going to finely chop our steak. In a bowl, we're going to add some gherkins, some chopped shallot, some Dijon mustard, Japanese mayonnaise, wasabi, and some finely chopped garlic chives, salt, pepper. We're going to mix that up, making sure the steak is nicely coated. To serve our dish, we're going to place the steak tartare on a gorgeous plate. We're then going to crack a beautiful little quail egg yolk in the center, and to finish off, some furikake seasoning, and serve with the crispy potato chips. Yum!
This is totally steak tartare.
Is that how we're saying it? Tartare. Tartare.
This is a little bit controversial to put in a cooking competition because it doesn't require any cooking.
Because it's raw.
This one looks a little bit Japanese inspired.
We have a beautiful sort of layer of the steak, and then there's a baby egg yolk that looks so adorable.
The egg yolk in the middle is from a very tiny chicken.
It must be from like a quail egg.
Or a quail. I think it's a tiny chicken.
With some potato chips.
In order to get this, it takes a lot of time and attention.
The beef is seasoned already, and all we need to do is blend the egg yolk through it.
Because it kind of acts as a bit of a sauce.
Right now I'm tasting a lot of Dijon mustard.
There's a really good saltiness with a hint of spice. I think it's wasabi.
The seaweed actually has like a lot of flavour and a lot of punch.
Let's try it with the chip.
The chips are crispy, nice and thin, they don't break apart, really good vessel.
Because there's so much complexity, there is kind of like an aftertaste that you get.
I feel like I can taste like sesame seed oil. Like there's something on it that's not part of the traditional vibe.
It just sits on the back of your palate after you've eaten the meal.
I'm gonna give this a 9. I really like it. For me to give it a 10 would probably just be a smidge less sesame seed oil.
I like the creativity and the presentation. I love the chips, but I think it could be elevated with a tweak on the seasoning. I would rate this dish 7 out of 10.
Overall, I would say that this is a near perfect dish and I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Today I'm doing a stir-fried beef and potatoes in a honey and pepper sauce. Today we're cooking with flap steak. It's a thinner piece of meat with a coarser texture, but it's great for holding up marinades. And now we're gonna first dice up the beef and put it into a bowl. And we're gonna season it with soy sauce, a pinch of sugar, black pepper, and a potato starch slurry. We're gonna mix this all together and then give the beef some time to soak up the flavors. Now we'll heat up some oil in the wok and we'll put in our pre-boiled potatoes to fry. Fry until they're just lightly golden. Now take the potatoes out to cool down. Once they've cooled down, we return them to the hot wok to crispen them up again. Yeah, heat the oil up till it's really hot and we'll put the marinated beef in. Just very quickly so that it gets a nice crust. So just in and out. Heat your wok up, add a spoon of oil and stir fry your onions, garlic and black pepper until fragrant. Now add in your peppers and sweat those off. Return your beef to the wok and add in a few cubes of cold diced butter. Let the butter foam and we'll deglaze a pan with a splash of Shaoxing wine. Now we add our seasonings. I'm going to season the dish with oyster sauce and a bit of mushroom soy. Return the potatoes to the pan and toss everything together. So make sure the heat is on high so that the sauce evaporates a little and coats everything nicely. To finish, we're going to drizzle the dish with honey. This will give the dish a nice glaze. And then we plate it up. I chose this dish because it's very nostalgic for me. So when the chefs try my dish today, I want them to feel like they're eating on the streets of Hong Kong.
This looks really good and it smells, it's got like Asian vibe smells.
Oh my God.
It's like a sweet caramel smell. It looks absolutely divine.
Kind of looks like Mongolian beef vibes.
Stir fry. Oh wow. The flavors on the plate here are quite understated. I think I'm getting like a sweet and sour or like a honey soy kind of flavor.
It does remind me of like, yeah, Hong Kong a little bit. It's taking me back. Yeah, I love it.
It was gorgeous. I like it.
Now for these potatoes. Oh, yum.
Those potatoes were cooked beautifully, super crispy, really nice texture in the center.
Yeah, so we've got lots of capsicum in here.
Which adds a little hint of sweetness.
Which is nice, but like the true hero of the dish is definitely the beef.
The steak was really good, just a little bit chewy. It was nice to have the textures of the veggies. A 7 out of 10.
Texture's great. The beef is tender, slightly chewy, but yeah, the flavor is really there. They're gonna give this an 8 out of 10.
It's totally blown it out of the ballpark for me, this one. It's almost been my favorite, but I'm going to rate this one an 8.5 out of 10. I am serving a medium rare steak with a pepper sauce with a side of my secret weapon, cracked potatoes. Check out my TikTok if you want to see the full recipe. I start off with seasoning the sirloin. I'm going to add some salt and pepper on there very generously. And then we're going to add some grapeseed oil into a skillet and heat that. I am adding that steak on and it is going to sizzle. Just listen to that. I'm gonna time it 2 minutes each side, so I'm kind of not really touching it too much. Flip, and now I need to render that fat. So I'm gonna hold the steak with the tongs just on its side and make sure that it goes golden and caramelized. It's gonna be absolutely delicious, and it's going to add more flavor to this dish. Now that the steak has come to about 3 minutes in the pan, you add butter in the pan with some herbs as well as garlic, and then you need to baste the steak over and over again. So once I take it out of the pan, I'm letting that steak rest for about 10 minutes. That's gonna make sure that all the juices stay inside the steak for when I serve it. And then I'm going to add my secret weapon, cracked potatoes. Now I've made these by smashing soft-boiled baby spuds, and I've added chicken salt on. It's going to be so delicious. Just baked them in the oven. So the steak will be served with a pepper sauce. I'm going to use the pan. I'm just gonna empty all the garlic and herbs and oil out, but I'm then going to place in some alcohol, and that's going to evaporate. Once that's gone, I'm gonna add the pepper in and just give that a little roast in the pan. And now it's time to add a little bit of beef stock and then some cream. Basically just reduce that until it turns a nice tan brown color, and that's going to add some amazing depth and flavor to my dish overall. There we go, a little garnish of thyme on top to finish it off. So I think the chefs are gonna love this. Let's see what they think.
It's a bit more classic, like a little bit country style with a bit of...
Ooh, that's a pepper sauce. Yum.
You know, you got your roast potatoes, which look super crispy, almost like they could have been deep fried.
The steak looks a little rare.
It's actually got a really nice crust.
It's delicious.
Also quite lean.
Yum.
Maybe I'll try it with the sauce now. Oh, there's like heaps of peppercorns.
Wow, that sauce is good.
It's kicking.
Potatoes, wow.
Ooh, they sound really crispy.
Fluffy, yum, yum, yum. Presentation, beautiful. Very classic, but unfortunately the steak was just too rare for me. I'm gonna score this dish an 8.
The steak is cooked beautifully. You can tell that the pan was super hot because you've got still this really nice like crust on the steak on either side, and that's what you really want because you still want that caramelization, almost that sweetness in the steak, and yeah, they've nailed that. I'm gonna be giving this an 8.5 out of 10.
This feels really homey. I feel like I'm at like, I don't know, maybe like grandma's house or something. Out of 10.
Me and Vikki, I am so glad to share the win with her.
Go me.
And it's my first win as well. Woo! Celebrations all round. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll keep the cooking content coming.